Tonight, a dramatic showdown between the White House and the nation's highest court. Former President Donald Trump is firing back at the Supreme Court after what he calls a deeply disappointing ruling on tariffs, a decision that could reshape his trade agenda and reignite debate over presidential power. In a sharply worded response, Trump lashed out at the justices, accusing the court of undermining American workers and interfering with executive authority. The ruling limits the administration's ability to impose or maintain certain tariffs under emergency trade powers, a major setback for Trump's long-standing economic strategy centered on aggressive trade enforcement. The Supreme Court's decision focused on whether the executive branch overstepped its authority in applying sweeping tariffs without clear congressional approval. In a majority opinion, the court signaled that while presidents do have broad powers in matters of trade and national security, those powers are not unlimited. The ruling emphasizes that Congress, not the president alone, holds primary authority over taxation and trade regulations under the Constitution. Trump reacted swiftly, posting on social media that the decision was bad for America, bad for business, and bad for our workers. He argued that tariffs are a critical tool to combat unfair trade practices, particularly from foreign competitors he has repeatedly accused of manipulating markets and undercutting U.S. manufacturing. "This is a deeply disappointing ruling," Trump said in a statement. "We fought to protect American jobs and American industries, and this decision ties the hands of any president who wants to stand up to foreign exploitation." The case had drawn intense national attention, with business groups, manufacturing leaders, and labor unions closely watching the outcome. Supporters of the ruling argue it restores constitutional balance and prevents overreach by the executive branch. Critics, including many of Trump's allies, say it weakens America's leverage in global trade negotiations. Legal analysts note that the decision does not eliminate all tariff authority, but it sets clearer limits on how and when such powers can be used. The court's reasoning underscores the separation of powers, a cornerstone of American governance, and could shape future trade policy regardless of who occupies the White House. On Capitol Hill, reaction was swift and divided. Some lawmakers praised the ruling as a victory for constitutional accountability. Others warned it could reduce America's ability to respond quickly to economic threats. The decision may also increase pressure on Congress to revisit trade laws and clarify the scope of presidential authority in economic emergencies. For American businesses, the ruling introduces new uncertainty. Companies that had adjusted supply chains in response to tariffs may now face changing regulations yet again. Financial markets reacted cautiously, with investors weighing the long-term implications for trade relations and domestic manufacturing. Meanwhile, Trump has signaled that he will continue to push for aggressive trade policies. Advisors close to the former president suggest he may seek alternative legal pathways or call on Congress to expand executive authority if he returns to office. The ruling could also become a major talking point on the campaign trail, where Trump frequently frames trade battles as fights for American sovereignty and economic independence. At its core, this confrontation highlights a broader debate about the balance of power in Washington. How much authority should a president have in shaping economic policy without direct congressional approval? And where should the line be drawn between swift executive action and constitutional restraint? The Supreme Court's ruling answers that question, at least for now, by reinforcing that no branch of government operates without limits. But judging by Trump's fiery reaction, the political battle over tariffs, trade, and executive power is far from over. This is a developing story, and the fallout from today's decision is likely to ripple through both the legal and political arenas in the weeks ahead. Stay with us for continuing coverage.